I was standing in my daughter's doorway when she screamed the words that finally broke me. "I hate you! I wish you'd die like Mom did." Her face was twisted with rage, tears streaming down her 17-year-old face that looked so much like her mother's it physically hurt to see. Her boyfriend Trent stood behind her, his manicured hand on her waist, wearing a cashmere sweater that cost more than I made in a week. He nodded with that smug, rich kid smile that made me want to put my fist through the wall. "Vera deserves a real father," he said, his eyes scanning my oil-stained warehouse uniform with undisguised disgust. "Not some broke loser who can't even afford her college tuition. My father says success is a choice, Mr. Cordell. Maybe you should have made better choices." The words hit harder than any physical blow could have. I stood there, frozen, watching my only daughter choose this arrogant boy over the man who had raised her alone for 10 years, who had held her through nightmares about her mother never coming home, who had learned to braid her hair from YouTube videos and sat through endless school plays and soccer games. "Get out of my house," I managed to say, though my voice sounded hollow even to my own ears. "Gladly," Vera spat back, grabbing her overnight bag that I now realized she'd already packed. "Trent's family actually cares about my future. His parents are taking me to look at Whitmore University this weekend. You know, the college I got into but can't attend because my father is a failure who works in a warehouse." They left together, Trent's BMW purring to life in my driveway, the sound a mockery of my 10-year-old pickup truck parked beside it. The house felt impossibly empty. My father Earl was at his weekly bowling league and wouldn't be home for hours. The silence pressed against my eardrums like I was underwater. I walked to my bedroom closet and pushed aside photo albums filled with happier times. Behind them was the locked box I hadn't opened in 3 years. Inside was my service revolver from my brief time as a reserve deputy, back when I thought I might make something more of myself. The metal was cold and heavier than I remembered. 6 bullets. More than enough. I drove to the overlook near Silver Creek Bridge, the new one they built after the collapse that took Nadia. The same water that swallowed my wife 10 years ago reflected the bridge lights like broken glass. I parked my truck and sat there with the gun on my lap, writing a note on the back of an old warehouse receipt. "Vera, I'm sorry I couldn't be the father you deserved. The life insurance should cover college. Despite everything, I love you. Dad." The barrel was cold against my temple. My finger found the trigger. This would solve everything. Vera would get the insurance money, go to her precious Whitmore University, marry someone like Trent, and never have to be ashamed of her father again. My hand was steady. I'd made my decision. Then my phone rang. The screen showed an unknown international number. Who calls at 11:30 at night from overseas? Wrong number, probably. Some scam call, but something made me lower the gun and answer. Maybe I wanted to hear another human voice one last time, even if it was just someone trying to sell me extended warranty coverage. "Is this Mason Cordell?" The voice was male, heavily accented and nervous. "Yeah, who's this?" "My name is Ramon Vega. I'm a private investigator calling from Colombia. Please don't hang up. This is about your wife, Nadia Cordell." The gun nearly slipped from my other hand. "If this is some kind of sick joke or scam, I swear to God I will track you down and make you regret it." "No scam, Mr. Cordell. Please listen. Your wife didn't die in that bridge collapse. She's alive." The words didn't make sense. They bounced around in my head like pinballs finding no place to land. "That's impossible. Her car went into the river. The police confirmed it." "She wasn't in the car when it went over, Mr. Cordell. She's been trying to get back to you and your daughter for 10 years. She's been looking for you, searching for you. She's alive, and she needs your help." I set the gun on the dashboard with shaking hands. Either I was having a breakdown, or this stranger was about to change everything I thought I knew about the worst night of my life. "Keep talking," I heard myself say, as the bridge lights blurred through sudden tears. life hadn't always been this broken. 10 years ago, I had everything a man could want without even knowing how precious it all was. I had Nadia, my beautiful Colombian wife with eyes like dark honey and a laugh that could fill every corner of our small house. I had Vera, our 7-year-old daughter who wore princess dresses to grocery stores and insisted on kissing every stuffed animal goodnight before bed. I had a steady job at the paper mill that paid enough for mortgage payments, Saturday pizza nights, and even a week at the lake every summer. We lived in a 2-story blue house on Maple Street with white shutters that Nadia painted herself while 5 months pregnant. She'd stood on that ladder despite my protests, singing Colombian folk songs her grandmother taught her, determined to make everything perfect before the baby arrived. The backyard had a garden where she grew tomatoes, peppers, and sunflowers that reached toward the sky like yellow prayers. Every spring, she and Vera would plant new seeds, their hands covered in soil, their matching smiles bright in the afternoon sun. Nadia worked part-time at the elementary school as a teacher's aide. The kids loved her because she never talked down to them and always kept butterscotch candies in her pocket. She'd come home with stories about little Tommy who finally learned to read, or Sweet Maria, who drew pictures of our family because she wished Nadia was her mom too. In the evenings, she'd help Vera with homework at the kitchen table, while I cooked dinner, usually something simple like spaghetti or grilled cheese, but Nadia acted like every meal I made was gourmet. We had routines that felt like religion. Sunday mornings meant pancakes shaped like Mickey Mouse. Tuesday nights, Nadia taught Vera traditional Colombian dances in the living room, while I pretended not to watch, mesmerized by how gracefully they moved together. Friday nights were for movies. All 3 of us squeezed onto the couch with a bowl of popcorn that Vera invariably spilled when she got excited about the story. The accident happened on October 15th. A date burned into my memory like a brand. Nadia's sister Rosa had just had a baby in Memphis, 3 states away. We couldn't afford plane tickets on short notice, so Nadia decided to drive. I wanted to go with her, but I'd just started a big project at the mill and couldn't get time off. "It's just 2 days, Mason," she'd said, kissing me goodbye at the door. "I'll call you when I get there." She never called. The storm hit around 9 that night, earlier than forecasted. The Silver Creek Bridge, already old and showing its age, couldn't handle the combination of wind and rain and the weight of traffic. It collapsed just after 10 p.m., taking 12 cars into the dark water below. They found 11 bodies over the following weeks. Nadia's rental car was pulled from the river. Her purse still on the passenger seat, but her body was never recovered. Search teams said the current was too strong, that she'd been swept downstream. I identified her purse at the police station. Her wallet was still inside, along with a photo of the 3 of us at last year's Christmas, all wearing matching ugly sweaters she'd bought as a joke. The officer, a young woman who looked barely out of college, held my hand while I sobbed like a child. They declared Nadia dead after 6 months of searching. I had to sign papers, plan a memorial service with no body to bury, explain to 7-year-old Vera why Mommy wasn't coming home. The paper mill closed 3 years later, another casualty of automation and overseas competition. 800 jobs gone overnight. I took whatever work I could find, eventually landing the night shift at a distribution warehouse 40 minutes away. The pay was less than half what I'd made at the mill, but it was work. My father Earl moved in to help with Vera while I worked 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., loading trucks until my back screamed and my hands went numb. "That girl needs stability, Mason," Earl would say, heating up leftover casserole some neighbor had brought. "She's angry at the world, and she's taking it out on you because you're the only one left to blame." He was right. By the time Vera hit high school, every conversation was a minefield. She resented the second-hand clothes, the fact that her phone was 3 models old, that I couldn't afford the school trips to Washington, D.C. or New York that her classmates went on. When she started dating Trent Hawley 6 months ago, everything got worse. His father owned half the commercial buildings downtown, and Trent never let us forget it. The explosion came on a Thursday night in March. I'd just gotten home from pulling a double shift at the warehouse, 16 hours of loading trucks in the cold. My back was on fire, my knees felt like broken glass, and all I wanted was a hot shower and 4 hours of sleep before I had to do it all again. But when I walked through the front door, I found Vera and Trent in the living room with college brochures spread across our old coffee table like a mockery of everything I couldn't provide. "Dad, perfect timing," Vera said without looking up. Her voice had that fake cheerfulness she used when she wanted something expensive. "I got my acceptance letter from Whitmore University today, early admission." I picked up one of the glossy brochures, all smiling students on manicured lawns. $52,000 a year. $200,000 for a bachelor's degree. The number might as well have been written in a foreign language for all the sense it made to my bank account. "Vera, we talked about this. State school has a great program, and with financial aid we could probably manage the payments if I pick up more shifts." "State school?" She jumped up from the couch like I'd slapped her. "Are you serious right now? State school is where dreams go to die. It's where kids go when their parents don't care about their futures. That's not fair. I care more than you could possibly understand." "No, you don't." Her voice cracked with rage. "If you cared, you would have made something of yourself. You would have gotten a better job. You would have tried harder. Mom would be so disappointed in what you've become." The mention of Nadia was a knife between my ribs. "Your mother would understand that I'm doing my best." "Your best?" Trent stood up, straightening his designer jacket that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. "Mr. Cordell, with all due respect, your best isn't good enough. My father started with nothing and built an empire. He says poverty is a choice, a failure of ambition. Maybe if you'd spent less time feeling sorry for yourself after your wife's death and more time improving your situation, Vera wouldn't be in this position." I felt my fists clench. This privileged kid who'd never worked a day in his life, who drove a BMW his daddy bought him for his 16th birthday, was lecturing me about ambition. "You don't know anything about our situation, Trent." "I know enough," he said, pulling Vera closer to him. "I know Vera's brilliant and deserves better than community college or some state school filled with mediocre students. I know my family can provide opportunities you never could. My father's already written her a recommendation letter for Whitmore. He's golf buddies with the dean." Vera looked at me with eyes full of resentment. "Trent's parents are taking me to tour the campus this weekend. They're paying for everything, the flight, the hotel, meals, because they actually believe in investing in my future. Vera, please, we can make state school work. You can transfer after 2 years if you want, once we've saved more money." "Save money?" She laughed bitterly. "You can't even afford to fix the washing machine that's been broken for 3 months. We wash our clothes in the bathtub, Dad. The bathtub. Do you know how humiliating it is when Trent asks why my clothes smell weird? If Trent really cared about you, he wouldn't judge you for things like that. God, you're pathetic," she screamed. "You work in a warehouse. A warehouse. Loading boxes like some kind of robot. Mom would have wanted more for me. She came to this country for opportunities, and you're wasting all of them. Don't you dare use your mother's memory against me." "Why not? She's dead because of you. Because you couldn't afford a decent car for her. Because you made her drive alone in that storm to see her sister because we couldn't afford 2 plane tickets. She died because you failed her, just like you're failing me now." Each word was a hammer blow. My chest felt tight, my vision blurred. Trent stepped forward, his expression smug. "Mr. Cordell, maybe it's time to accept that Vera needs a different environment. My parents have offered to let her stay with us until graduation. We have a guest suite bigger than this entire house. She'd have everything she needs to succeed." "Over my dead body," I whispered. That's when Vera screamed those final, devastating words that shattered whatever was left of my heart. The words that sent me to that bridge with a loaded gun, ready to make her wish come true. The gun was heavier than I remembered. cold metal against my temple as I sat in my truck, overlooking Silver Creek Bridge. The new bridge they'd built was supposed to be stronger, safer, a monument to the 12 people who died when the old one collapsed, including my Nadia, or so I'd believed for 10 years. The dashboard clock read 11:47 p.m. In 13 minutes, it would be Friday. Vera would wake up to a world where her wish had come true, where her father was dead just like her mother, where insurance money could buy her way into Whitmore University. I had just clicked off the safety, my finger settling on the trigger, when my phone lit up with that international call. The area code was from Colombia. For a second, I wondered if this was how death worked, if somehow Nadia was calling me from the other side. I answered with my left hand, keeping the gun steady in my right. "Is this Mason Cordell?" The man's accent was thick, but his English was clear. "Yeah, who's asking?" "My name is Ramon Vega. I'm a private investigator in Bogota. Mr. Cordell, I need you to listen very carefully. Your wife, Nadia Cordell, did not die in that bridge collapse." The gun wavered. I set it on the passenger seat, my hand suddenly shaking too hard to hold it. "If this is some kind of scam, you picked the wrong night and the wrong man." "No scam, sir. I'm sending you a photograph right now. Please look at it." My phone buzzed with an incoming message. I opened it with trembling fingers. The woman in the hospital bed was thin, aged beyond her years, with gray streaking through dark hair, but those eyes, the shape of her face, the small scar above her left eyebrow from when she fell off her bike as a child in Cartagena. It was Nadia. My Nadia. This can't be real. Her car went into the river. The police found her purse. She was taken before the bridge collapsed, Mr. Cordell, about 2 miles before. The people who took her threw her purse in the car and pushed it toward the bridge to make it look like she died in the accident. They knew the bridge was unstable, that it would likely collapse in the storm. It was perfect cover for a kidnapping. My mind reeled. Who would take her? Why? Her family in Colombia had debts, Mr. Cordell. Debts to very dangerous people. When her father died 5 years before she met you, those debts passed to her. She thought she'd escape them by coming to America, by marrying you, by building a new life. But these people have long memories and longer reaches. They took her back to Colombia to work off the debt in their operations. Operations? I could barely form the word. She's been held on a farm in the mountains, doing agricultural work, cooking, cleaning. Essentially, slave labor. She's attempted to escape 7 times over the years. Each time they caught her, they moved her somewhere more remote. But 3 weeks ago, during a transfer between locations, their vehicle crashed. She managed to get to a hospital in Cartagena. That's where she found me. How do I know you're telling the truth? How do I know this isn't just an elaborate con? She told me to tell you specific things. She said you proposed to her at a gas station at 2 in the morning after her car broke down. You said you didn't have a ring, but you had a quarter for the gumball machine, and if she got the red one, it meant she had to marry you. She got the red one. My chest tightened. I'd never told anyone that story, not even Vera. Keep going. She said Vera's first word was Papa, even though Nadia spent months trying to make it Mama. She said you have a scar on your left shoulder from falling off the roof putting up Christmas lights in 2010. She said you sing Beatles songs in the shower, but always get the lyrics wrong. She said you put ketchup on your eggs and it disgusts her, but she loves you anyway. Tears were streaming down my face now. Where is she? How do I get to her? That's why I'm calling, Mr. Cordell. She's very sick. 10 years of malnutrition, untreated injuries from the escape attempts, and now pneumonia from exposure after the crash. The hospital in Cartagena is basic. She needs better care, and she needs to come home. But there are complications. What kind of complications? Legal ones. She's been declared dead in America. Getting her back requires documentation, bribes for officials, medical transport, and the people who held her are still looking. We need to move fast and quietly. I can arrange everything, but it will cost $15,000. 15,000. 3 months of my gross pay if I worked every possible shift. Money I didn't have. I looked at the gun on the passenger seat, then at the picture of Nadia on my phone. The choice was suddenly crystal clear. $15,000, I repeated, staring at Nadia's photograph on my phone screen. I need proof this is real. I need to talk to her. She can't speak much, Ramon said. Her throat was damaged in one of the escape attempts, but I can put her on for a moment. There was shuffling, muffled Spanish voices, then breathing, labored, wheezing, but breathing. Then a whisper so faint I had to press the phone against my ear. Mason, mi amor. I never stopped trying to come home. The voice was broken, barely recognizable, but the way she said my name, the way she called me mi amor, like she had every morning for 8 years of marriage, shattered any remaining doubt. I sobbed like a child, 10 years of grief pouring out in the darkness of my truck. Nadia, baby, I'm going to get you home. I promise. Vera? Her voice cracked on our daughter's name. She's beautiful. She looks just like you. She's going to be so happy. Ramon came back on the line. Mr. Cordell, we have maybe 72 hours before the people looking for her track her to this hospital. Can you get the money? I looked around my truck, at my life, at everything I didn't have. Then I thought about Richard Hawley, Trent's father, sitting in his mansion, judging me through his son's eyes. A plan formed, desperate but possible. Give me 48 hours, I said. I drove home and called Earl immediately. Dad, I need you here now. Don't ask questions, just come home. Then I did something that went against every fiber of my pride. I looked up Richard Hawley's number and called him at midnight. His voice was alert, probably working late on some $1 million deal. Mr. Hawley, this is Mason Cordell, Vera's father. I need to meet with you tonight. It's about a business proposition. It's midnight, Cordell. It's urgent. I promise it will be worth your time. An hour later, I was sitting in Richard Hawley's home office, a room with leather-bound books he'd probably never read, and a desk that cost more than my truck. The house was quiet. Trent and Vera were upstairs, probably asleep in one of the guest suites. I'll sell you my house, I said without preamble. It's worth $60,000. I owe $15,000 on the mortgage. I'll take $20,000 cash for my equity, and I need it tonight. Richard leaned back, studying me like I was a business prospectus. Why would I want your house? Because your son wants my daughter, and my daughter wants the life you can provide. Buy my house, rent it back to me for whatever you want. Tell Vera it's an investment in her future. Tell her nothing. I don't care. I just need $20,000 in cash by morning. This is about more than Vera's college, isn't it? I pulled out my phone and showed him Nadia's picture. My wife is alive. She's been held captive in Colombia for 10 years. I need $15,000 to get her home safely. The rest is for medical care once she's here. His expression shifted, the businessman facade cracking slightly. That's impossible. That's what I said, but it's true. And if you don't help me, I'll still find a way. I'll sell everything, work myself to death if I have to. But when Nadia comes home and Vera learns the truth, she'll know that every cruel thing she said to me tonight was based on a lie. She'll know that her mother has been trying to get back to us for 10 years while she wished I was dead. It will destroy her. That sounds like emotional blackmail, Cordell. No, it's a father trying to save both parts of his family. Help me bring Nadia home, and I'll make sure Vera's relationship with Trent continues smoothly. Don't help me. And when the truth comes out, Vera will never forgive herself, or anyone who stood between her parents reuniting. Richard stood and walked to a painting on the wall. Behind it was a safe. You know, Cordell, I've always thought you were weak, letting life defeat you after your wife's death. Maybe I was, but I'm not anymore. He pulled out stacks of cash, counting them methodically. $20,000. The house papers will be drawn up tomorrow. You'll sign them and rent the house back for $1 a month until Vera graduates college. $1? I'm not a complete bastard, Cordell. Besides, this makes a better story. The triumphant return, the father who saved his wife, the family reunited. It's good for Vera, and what's good for Vera is good for my son. I took the money, my hands shaking. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You still have to get her home safely. 3 weeks later, I stood at Miami International Airport with Vera beside me. She kept checking her phone, irritated that I dragged her here on a Saturday morning. Dad, seriously, what is this about? Trent's family is having brunch at the country club and I'm supposed to be there. Just watch that door, Vera, please. Why are you being so weird? You've been acting strange for weeks. Even Earl's been jumpy. Then the automatic doors opened. A wheelchair came through first, pushed by a nurse in blue scrubs. The woman in the chair was thin, fragile-looking, wearing a simple dress and a red scarf around her damaged throat. But when she saw us, when her eyes found Vera, she tried to stand despite the nurse's protests. Vera's phone slipped from her hand, clattering on the floor. "Mom?" Nadia nodded, tears already streaming down her worn face. "My baby, my beautiful baby girl." Vera ran. She crossed that airport floor like she was 7 years old again, flying into her mother's arms with a sob that came from somewhere deep and broken inside her. They collapsed together, the wheelchair rolling backward as they held each other. I stood back, letting them have their moment, watching my daughter's world rebuild itself in real time. People stopped to stare, some pulling out phones to record what they thought was a soldier's homecoming or a long-lost reunion. They weren't wrong about the last part. In the car, Vera sat in the back with Nadia, refusing to let go of her hand. She kept touching her mother's face, her hair, like she needed constant proof this was real. "I don't understand. How? The bridge, the police said you were dead." Nadia's voice was barely a whisper, her throat still healing. "Bad people took me, Misha, people from my past in Colombia, but I never stopped fighting to come home. Every day for 10 years, I fought to come back to you and your father." "Dad?" Vera said suddenly, turning to look at me in the driver's seat. Her face crumbled. "Oh God, Dad, the things I said. Last month, I told you I wished you were dead. I said you were a failure. I said Mom would be disappointed in you. You didn't know, sweetheart. But I should have trusted you. I should have believed in you." She was crying harder now. "How did you even afford to bring her back? The medical transport, the documents. It must have cost everything. I sold the house to Trent's father." Her eyes widened. "What? But where will we live?" "We're renting it back. $1 a month until you graduate college. Richard Hawley may be a lot of things, but he understood that bringing your mother home was more important than his opinions about my financial status." Nadia squeezed my hand from the back seat, then spoke carefully. "Mason, there's something else. The people who held me, they weren't random criminals. My father had debts to a cartel before he died. I thought I'd escaped that life when I came to America. I was wrong. They may still be looking for me. We'll handle it together. Ramon Vega is working with immigration lawyers to get you protected status. You're home now. That's all that matters." When we pulled up to our house, Earl was waiting on the porch. The tough old veteran who'd raised me after my mom died, who never cried at anything, had tears rolling down his weathered face. "I'll be damned," he said, helping Nadia from the car. "Welcome home, sweetheart." That evening, Trent came by to pick up Vera for some event. He stood in our doorway, his confidence evaporating when he saw Nadia. "Mrs. Cordell, but we thought you were dead." "Apparently not," Nadia said, her damaged voice still carrying authority. "You must be Trent. Vera's told me about you. She says you think her father is a loser." Trent's face reddened. "I didn't mean. I was just trying to motivate Vera to want more." "More?" Nadia stood slowly, still weak, but drawing strength from somewhere deep. Let me tell you about more, young man. My husband just moved heaven and earth to bring me home. He sold everything he owned, sacrificed his pride, worked with people who'd insulted him, all to save me. That's not a loser. That's what love looks like. And if you can't see that, if you can't respect that, then you're not worthy of my daughter. Vera looked at Trent, then at me, then at her mother. Trent, I think you should go. Actually, I think we're done. After he left, Vera hugged me for the first time in years. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry for everything. We're still in that house, still struggling with money, still healing from 10 years of separation. But we're together. Every morning I wake up and check that Nadia is really there, really breathing beside me. She has nightmares sometimes, wakes up screaming in Spanish about running. Always running. But she's home. If you're watching this, remember that sometimes the story isn't over when you think it is. Sometimes the dead aren't dead. Sometimes a phone call in your darkest moment changes everything. The difference between an ending and a beginning is just being willing to answer when life calls. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched you, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear that hope exists even in the darkest moments. Leave a comment about a time when your life changed with a single phone call. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more incredible true stories of families reunited against impossible odds. Remember, your story isn't over. Not yet.